Good evening, and thank you for staying with us here on ZiFM Stereo. I am Monalisa Dube, and this is Business Unusual. And it's ZITF week. We've been very fortunate to have the ZITF chairperson, Busisa Moyo, to make time to chat with us today, because I can only imagine how busy this season has been for you.
Yes, Mona Lisa, thank you very much. Good evening, listeners. It's been a busy time for us. Putting the show together, the trade showcase. It's an annual state event, actually, on the annual calendar of the nation. And so we have been doing our very best to put on a show that we can all be proud of as Zimbabweans.
Right. Now, before we zero into this year's trade fair, I would like to talk about you a little bit, how the journey has been for you as ZITF chairperson since you were appointed in March 2020.
Well, it's been an interesting journey because soon after we were appointed, COVID really bit into all manner of business systems and events in the country, and the MICE industry, our meetings, incentives, conventions, and shows like that were put on hold. Essentially, we were not able to have ZITF in 2020. We had a show in 2021 that was very modest, trying really to defy COVID, and then 2022 was really when we got back.
Right.
So it's been quite an interesting journey, very challenging for our team, our management team, our staff team. It's been a very challenging time, but we have a group of very committed women, men and women, who are committed to the cause of the MICE industry and making sure that ZITF happens for Zimbabwe, for Africa every year. And we're very fortunate to have such people with us.
Right. So in your opinion, I'm putting you on the spot here, just toot your own horn a little bit. In your opinion, what makes you the right guy for the job?
The right guy for the job of ZITF chairman?
Yes.
Well, I actually don't know. I don't think I could give a definite answer, but I think that my minister, Minister Sekai Nzenza, and His Excellency felt I was suited for the job, maybe because I've been attending ZITF every year since I was 8 years old.
Wow. I guess you're
but
speaking
there
it
are
into
many,
existence.
But there are many Zimbabweans who fit that bill, and maybe who've attended longer than I have, so I don't think so.
So maybe it's your experience in the business space?
Yes, well, I think because, I started my career as an accountant by training, but then got into business and the industry and became the chairperson or president of the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries, and I used to participate on the panels at ZITF for many years, and I think it must have been that created that opportunity for me to be noticed as somebody who could contribute, and I see it as an opportunity and a privilege and not a right, and so we just seek to do our best as the current board that is there. There are many boards that have served ZITF. We just happen to be the board that's there now,
right? And
we count ourselves really fortunate to be able to contribute in the way that we have been able to, in being resilient. It's been a challenging time. When we started our mandate, we wanted to modernize and upgrade ZITF. That's what we looked at as being our sort of main mandate, which is found in NDS, in the National Vision document, and in NDS 1. And that's what we sought to do, really, to modernize, upgrade, be up there with the Durban Convention Center, Cape Town. That's what we were looking at.
Upgrade in what regard? In
the facility. The facility, so we can host conventions at that sort of level, because our infrastructure, it is in need of upgrading. And so that's what we saw as our mandate. That changed to a survival during COVID because so we've had to deal with that for the last 2 years or so, and then rebuild the normal business of ZITF. And that's what me and my fellow board members and the current management team have been seized with.
Would you say you're back on your feet now with COVID?
I would say we are almost there. We are a very ambitious board about what we would like to see. So to give you an example, this year we have, and probably we're going to talk about that a little later, but we are close to 600 exhibitors.
Right.
Pre-COVID 2018, we were 700. So we would like certainly to be back there so that we can then pick up our work and head towards 1,000 exhibitors. I need to qualify that to say that number of exhibitors is not the only statistic because the size of exhibition also matters. So you can have many small exhibitors or few large, elaborate, big stands type exhibitors.
It's interesting you say that because you've been on the record several times saying, oh, the space is now 85% done or 93% exhibitors have taken up the space. So if you is then saying that it's not as much as it was before, does it then go back to the issue of space?
Yes, we are limited in space, hence my earlier comment that we would want to upgrade this to a 3-4 story facility with a convention center, a hotel. These are plans that we're working on. And to create space for this ZITF 2023, which is our 63rd edition. So we've been holding this for 63 years. We have had to create marquees and have some of our exhibitors go to outdoor areas because we don't have enough indoor space. So that shows you that we are where we are and locates the kind of things we need to do for a growing business community. We are re-internationalizing the ZITF to make sure it truly has a regional feel. This year we have 21 foreign exhibitors, very few fairs. In fact, it's the only fair in the subcontinent that has that sort of flavor of exhibition. But we want to grow it much more, have more private sector participation and the like. But we can't do that if we don't have the space.
Right.
And so as a board, these are matters that we are working on and will be coming to the market and to our various stakeholders with further details as we go.
Okay. So I know our conversation then steered like right deep into the conversation, but I normally want to give a bit of basic information to our listeners so that we put our conversation into context.
Yes.
So maybe just to take us back a little bit, what's the trade fair about, right? Like what's the big idea? What is it that the country is hoping to achieve by holding this every year?
So this is a platform. The ZITF is essentially a platform for businesses to come, for public entities, for foreign organizations to come and to showcase to the public, to the consuming public, what they have to offer in terms of products, whether they be new, standard, new ways of delivering those products, following various themes every year that we will have. So we'll have a tilt, a slant or bent towards a particular topic. Last year we were talking about rethinking, reimagining, reinventing value chains. And so that's what we were showcasing. So it sets a tone and an agenda for the nation in terms of business and the kind of aspirations, issues that we would like to tackle, issues that business is grappling with. It brings together business and public sector and creates that platform. We have added a third component, which is diplomats, the diplomatic community, in the form of our Diplomats Forum, which takes place on a Thursday.
I think I saw that on your program.
Yes, on Thursday night, where we have business and diplomats interacting with a view to increasing trade, with a view to increasing investments, whether it be inwards or outwards. So it's really an exchange, a platform for on multiple levels for exchange, for businesses to do better, for businesses that are unknown, because sometimes it is viewed that the ZITF is for big businesses. It's the opposite.
Another view that I want to bring to you.
Small businesses as well.
Sorry, another point that I want to bring to you is I've heard in certain circles where people say, oh, the ZITF is just 100 people that choose to go and hang out in Bulawayo, you know. So what sort of criteria are you using when people actually come to exhibit? What sort of businesses? You highlighted that small businesses are inclusive as well. Do you have specific sectors that you're looking at when you have people that are coming through?
So it's cross-cutting, multi-sectoral. We have people that grow crops in certain rural district councils, special crops, whether it's Rapoko, whether it's Munga, Rio, and they come. It's actually a competition, but with a view to exhibiting. And this is where millers, for example, of those commodities come and interact with them and end up creating outgrower schemes. So all kinds of businesses. We have young people. We have an innovators forum that takes place for our young people, and some of our past participants in this program have gone from concept to commercialization. So as you can see, we're not even talking about an existing business. This is somebody who came, participated in a discussion forum, was able to connect with people that could assist them to commercialize their idea. So it's on multiple levels, it's multi-sectoral, it's for the country. You asked Mona Lisa criteria.
Right.
There is no criteria. Everyone who is a Zimbabwean, who is a foreigner, and wants to exhibit and is willing to pay the standard fee for a stand can come in and book a stand and exhibit their products, whether they are trust, business concern, private limited company, listed, partnership, whatever you are, as long as you're a business organization or an entity. And it's not just business. We have associations, Cancer Association. We have some organizations in the health sector, so health societies, medical aid societies. So all kinds of entities, sole traders, sole proprietors can come in and exhibit. Now we have private business corporations, PBCs. You can come and exhibit, large, small, all kinds.
If you're just joining us, this is Business Unusual. I am Monalisa Dube, and we are talking Zimbabwe International Trade Fair with the board chairperson, Busisa Moyo, and its ZITF week ongoing, which is going to start tomorrow at the ZITF exhibition in Bulawayo. And we're having a chat with the chairperson just to give you more information on what the trade fair is about. Now, you did highlight that it's a platform for networking, businesses to grow, etc. Is there a way of accounting for actual business deals or business transactions that have come as a result of the ZITF?
So we used to track the business deals clinched at ZITF, and we still do collect that data. But with business sometimes, because our environment sometimes is very competitive, not everybody wants to highlight what deals have been clinched. And with marketing, it's difficult to pin a particular return on a particular cost. So sometimes you meet somebody at the ZITF, you keep a card, and it's later on after ZITF. How do we link that back to ZITF? And can we follow through everything that happens at ZITF? No, we can't. But what we believe in is once you have a platform that is rich in content, that is relevant, it will bring value to organizations. And that's why people come back every year. And some have said, trade fair is, we're just doing the same thing. Well, no, because businesses market every year. They have Christmas promotions every year. But we never say, look, let's postpone Christmas. Yeah, we did Christmas last year. Let's look for something else. It's because there are new businesses coming in. Even the existing businesses, we have businesses that have been around for over 80 years. I run a business that's been around for 88 years. But we have new products. We are doing rice now. Yeah. We'd like the market to know about that, sample, taste. So that dynamism in corporate sector, in private sector, that's why we have a date, a calendar, right. ZITF, where business entities, consumers, the public sector come together for that week in Bulawayo to have conversations, to showcase products, and to conclude transactions. All the banks will be there from the financial services. And I cannot tell you how many transactions are concluded by banks because they see a new business concern and say, hey, we like this idea, we would like to support.
Right.
You have public to private sector type transactions. You are a company that makes a certain commodity. The police, the head of police is at the ZITF. Hey, we would like to get this, we would like to get some of our members of the force to use this protective wear or this new concept. And so that becomes a transaction. So this is why we have this commercial event every year for the last 63 years.
Now, President Emerson Mnangagwa's administration has been big on re-engaging Zimbabwe or reconnecting Zimbabwe to the international community due to, certain histories prior to that. And he goes by Zimbabwe is open for business, right? In your opinion, in your assessment, to what extent does the ZITF contribute in that re-engagement effort and in actually putting Zimbabwe on the international market?
I think ZITF is a very big tool in the arsenal of Zimbabwe in terms of re-engagement in their toolbox. It is not the only one. There are many other efforts. ZITF does benefit from the efforts of government itself in re-engagement and other initiatives, but it also plays a critical role in economic diplomacy. As I said, we have a diplomats forum where the Ministry of Foreign Affairs really presides over that, really to reach out to foreign governments and organizations such as the EU, who then participate. As a result of participation in this diplomats forum, we have seen the UK taking up a full stand.
I actually had the UK country trade director on my show last week, talking how excited they are
about
ZITF. Yes.
There you go. And so the EU is also a blockbuster attendee or exhibitor this year. They're coming not as Germany, as France. They're coming as the EU.
It's the first time they're coming.
And it's the first time they're coming in the history of ZITF. So this is quite a big thing for us, and we see that as a role. And of course, we would like His Excellency to be able to tour the stands and see what they're doing, because there's a lot of work that some of these governments are doing in our country, but it's not known. It's not appreciated because of certain maybe popular narratives that we like to dwell on, which are important. But it's also important to know that they're not the only thing that is happening. We have flowers that are being exported to the EU, which very few people know about. We have a very vibrant horticultural industry supported by the EU, and very few people know about it. So we think that as the public sees this, banks see this, and we are in need of exports, and banks are looking for export type clients. So this atmosphere is ripe for economic re-engagement in particular, and we believe if we can re-engage economically, then hopefully maybe we can have amicable relationship with some of these foreign countries and go from there and build a new relationship with new dynamics and with new coordinates.
Absolutely. This is Business Unusual. We'll take a quick break. Thereafter, we continue with the conversation. Stay with us. Are you good?
I'm good.
It was
just hot.
It is. We need the
lights. It was a bit warm, but that's okay. I've managed to settle my temperature.
Do you need a water break? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
So now we're just going to talk about what's happening on the sidelines. Did you say you gave me that scoop? Have you decided?
I want to give you that scoop.
Okay, yay.
Because you're showing it on Monday, so I'm safe.
Oh, okay.
Because if it breaks, but you can break it. I don't know how you are the broadcaster journalist. You'll tell me how you want to break it. But it's to do with who is going to be our official guest of honor.
Oh, nice. Okay, I actually had that on my question, so it's fine. I'll ask that, then you answer.
Okay.
Okay. We won't pick that up?
Nope.
We won't. Okay. Tate, are we good? Okay. Thank you for staying with us here on ZiFM Stereo. I'm Lisa Dube, and this is Business Unusual. We are discussing Zimbabwe International Trade Fair this evening, and I'm joined by the ZITF Chairperson, Busisa Moyo, as he gives us some insights on the trade fair and why you should go there if you are in Bulawayo, and as well as exhibiting there. So apart from the exhibitions, I know that every year there are always conferences, conversations that are happening on the sidelines. Tell us about those.
So let me start with, we have a myriad of cocktails that are being hosted by different exhibitors, different groups that are happening all over Bulawayo, in different hotels, in different venues that are taking place. And those will start, I think, the earliest ones are Monday. So we already start with a myriad of cocktails to host clients, potential clients of organizations, interested parties, stakeholders for various exhibitors that will be there.
Right.
Those continue Monday, Tuesday. We've kept the program open so they could have those as exhibitors. They have the space. Then we have certain important conferences and big meetings that we have. The first one is on Wednesday, and that is the International Business Conference.
Sounds huge.
Yes, that is very huge. That's going to be presided over by the Vice President, retired General CDG N. Chiwenga, who annually convenes or presides over that. It's a platform, again, for businesses to share. Our theme this year is transformative innovation, global competitiveness. And that's what we are going to be talking about, how we can compete in the global space as Zimbabwe, as the subcontinent, and cooperate with international partners.
That was actually going to be my next question, to just elaborate a bit more on the theme. Like, what does it entail?
Right.
And what is it that you hope that businesses that come there actually get from that theme itself?
Right. So transformative innovation, we are really looking at, there's several types of innovation. I won't go into those, whether it's product innovation, it's systems innovation, or what they call value innovation. Value innovation is like what Uber has done, taken something we know to create value. Now transport costs a third of what it would cost you normally because of Uber and ride sharing technologies. Airbnb, they have taken down the cost of accommodation. So that our view is that in order for businesses to thrive, communities to thrive, Africa to thrive, we will need transformative, adapted but transformative innovation in order to catch up with the rest of the world. Because as Africa in particular, looking at the subcontinent, we're really behind and we need to catch up. It's still international because we can cut and paste, we can borrow, we can adapt,
right.
and certain learnings. And that's what we really need to be good at. We have certain advantages, like in mobile money, we are ahead of the rest of the world. If you look at our penetration of using cellular services to pay, they don't even have that in some places. So there are some learnings that can happen the other way. But I think there's a lot more that we can get to be able to innovate in a transformative way. So we've had innovation, but it hasn't been transformative.
Right.
It hasn't been felt. It still doesn't scratch where it itches. And this is what we want to address, to say, how do we adapt with all that we have, all that's at our disposal? How do we embed or onboard that innovation so that it transforms communities, transforms the youth, the issues of youth employment, and other social issues that we face.
And I'm sure the goal also is to make Zimbabwe competitive on the international market.
100%. But competitiveness, which is the second part, so it's transformative innovation, global competitiveness. The second part, that competitiveness is not just on price. It's competitiveness in terms of the value offering that consumers get. What does a person actually get? A competitive product is a set of benefits that somebody will get. For example, our GM status. Did you know that Zimbabwe is one of the few countries in the world that still sticks to a non-GM? Zambia is another. We still grow non-GM cereals, grains. And the meat-free industry, for example, is $10 billion. But we haven't taken advantage of that. So we can be very competitive in that area if we connected the dots and began to participate. So the EU, one of the areas that the EU has been working on and why they're excited about Zim and our vegetables and our horticulture is that. So this is some of the issues that are not known. We want to unveil those, that we are actually competitive, but we need scale in certain areas.
How far off do you think we are as a country?
Well, we are. It's a difficult one, but we want to make tomorrow better than today. Whatever we're doing today, we need to 10x it in order to be a prosperous country. If our GDP per capita is $1,300, we want it to be $13,000, like Botswana. We want to 10x. We want to 10x what we're doing. And so all these efforts that are going in under government, under NDS1, is really to have a multiplier. How do we grow the good that is happening? And that's how we'll overcome the ills that we have in society. And we believe that corporations, enterprise, business is the best way to deal with some of these societal issues.
But obviously, it's not a one person or one sector thing for us to get there. It's like you said, it's a holistic approach. It goes to policy, it goes to everybody's contribution for Zimbabwe to actually get to these examples that you were given. So in your conversations with policymakers, with the conversations with people that know this information, I know with the ZITF, this kind of information or concerns usually come up with business, right? Especially with the foreign business. What responses are you getting? Is there will to ensure that all these concerns that business has is being addressed?
Very good question. I can tell you there's more will now than I've seen in my entire 20 years in business in this country. There's more will to do the things that business wants. The issue is how. The issue is the challenges we've created, the legacy that we have in terms of our context and our reality. And so, as a person who's been a lobbyist before I was chairman of anything, I was just a person who was a lobbyist to government. In fact, His Excellency said, well, you're always telling us about these problems we've got. Now you come and
have
help.
to solve them.
Now you come and help me solve them.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe, and a lot more colleagues, my colleague in Ministry of Finance, George Kuwamatanga, we worked together on at Barclays. Dr. Anxious Masuka was at the Zimbabwe Agricultural Society. These are colleagues that we worked with in business. So that's why I say there's more will now to do the things that business is looking for than I've seen. And so the thing is the how. The thing is to be innovative and creative enough with our reality to start to really meaningfully tackle some of the problems that we find, whether it's in policy. And that's why it's not just a private sector conversation. The International Business Conference I'm talking about is a nexus between public policy makers, academia, who are the researchers. So the how that I'm talking about. So institutions of higher learning, instead of teaching our students to regurgitate information, how do we have learning, a structure of learning that solves genuine community problems? How do we structure our education? And so we have my good friend, Professor Amon Murira, who is very much a part of what we're going to be discussing about innovation, because it's not going to be solved at trade fair. But
it's a platform.
But it's a platform and it's a journey. It's a step. And there are several steps that we have to take. And business in Zimbabwe, like any other place, we have to be resilient with our positions. We have to be clear about what we are asking for policy holders, because sometimes our interests are very narrow. They are sectoral and not even value chain based. You will find a group of businesses going to lobby for a particular position that benefits them, but it doesn't benefit the whole value chain. And so we've got all these things that are happening. But how do we become better at giving comprehensive positions that a policymaker can support without creating a problem in another sector?
There's need for cohesion.
That cohesion, that coordination, that inclusivity. Whereas it's not just me in my sector as an oil expressor making money. What is the soya farmer doing? What is the guy who's giving us seeds to plant so that the farmer grows soya for me? And this was the secret behind UDI. It was a holistic, self-reinforcing ecosystem and ecosystems. And that's how small countries prosper. There's no other way. So we have to have the conversations. We have to have them many times. We will make mistakes. Things may take long, but we must continue to be resilient. And that's the message at the International Business Conference.
Okay, so are you saying that as a country, we are working towards that cohesion in terms of business and policy?
100%. And we will be working towards that until Jesus comes back. So it's not.
So when are we getting there?
There's
a point where we need to get to resolve.
There's no getting there. There is no getting there because it's the law of the peak. When you climb a peak, you see the next peak. Because right now we're saying we want to be, I'm saying 10x. Take the Moyo aspiration. We are 1.3 per capita income. I want us to go to 13. When we get to 13, there's still 26 to go to.
So maybe let me ask my question this way. At what point are we going to see results of sorts?
I think we are seeing results, Mona Lisa. The issue is scale and transformation. The results are there because we did not have 8 players in my sector when I started working in this sector in 2007. We had 3 edible oil companies. Today we have 8. They are employing each 1,000 people. We didn't have that. So we are on a journey. We didn't have inbox where you could transfer money from an INSCO branch, buy an Airlink ticket at a Chicken Inn branch. We didn't have that. So there's a lot that is happening, but it's just the scale. It's not big enough for everyone or more and more people to feel the impact of what is happening.
I think I'm going to have you here on another program and we talk about, just business in Zimbabwe and policies, etc. Because I think there's a lot to talk about there. But we're here for ZITF.
We're here for ZITF. But these are the conversations. These are the real conversations. And I'm glad that you as a young person in your country are probing and seeking. That's how we start to develop a country. Because if we're quiet about the things that are affecting sectors, affecting the young people, affecting women, affecting the disadvantaged, physically challenged, we are missing certain things. And at the International Business Conference at ZITF, these are the real conversations we want to have in an open forum and say, how do we go from here? How do we transform?
Absolutely. So back to ZITF. You shared a bit about the programs that you have, etc. So tell us a bit more about the lineup, the program, the guest of honor.
So we have the International Business Conference on Wednesday. That's going to be taking place in the morning from about 9 o'clock, and we go on up to lunchtime. Then on Thursday, we have 2 big events. The first one is the Connect Africa Symposium. That is outward looking, more brotherly cooperation. Malawi, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Botswana. How do we cooperate to create a regional bloc that is strong, that is going somewhere? How do we connect the dots? Africa still trades with itself below 25%. If you compare to Latin America, 59%. Compared to the Euro, 70%. So Africans are not trading with each other. Our biggest trading partners as African countries are foreign countries.
Right.
Not ourselves. And that comes with costs and disadvantages and also denies us the ability to improve.
Is that where not the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement
100%.
comes in?
And so talking about the Africa Free Trade Area, we have His Excellency Mene, who is the Secretary General. Amgele Mene is the Secretary General for the Africa Free Trade Area. He's going to be at ZITF at the Connect Africa Symposium, and we're going to be having these and also sort of Pan-African banks that are going to be discussing with us, whether it's Africa TDB, Trade Development Bank, Afrixim, UNDP, organizations like that participating in a conversation of how do we improve trade with Africa? How does a Zimbabwean take advantage of being in this region and trading with our neighbors? So that's on Thursday. Then that evening, we also have another outward-looking meeting, which is the Diplomats Forum. That's Thursday evening. And there we are meeting.
This is the one that you said you've recently introduced the Diplomats Forum.
This is the 3rd year running. This is our 3rd year, and we've had a big success. And as I said, because of that reaching out and creating a special, we've seen some of those participant delegates to that Diplomats Forum becoming exhibitors. So it's about conversion.
Right.
And that has worked out very well. We've created relationships. We still have some that are not keen, but we are grateful for those that have responded and have seen that it's a very neutral platform. You come and showcase what you have, and you share ideas under this theme of innovation. Obviously, we know the Western world is much further ahead. We want to probe their minds. How do we link? How do we innovate out of some of our challenges and create a better Zimbabwe, better subcontinent, better Africa for everyone? That's on Thursday. Then on Friday is the big day. We have the official opening of the ZITF that will be presided over by the head of state, who's also the patron of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. That's Dr. Edie Mnangagwa, who's His Excellency, who is going to preside over that. We have a special guest, a royal, who is going to grace the ZITF.
Do tell.
Who's going to grace the ZITF this year, and we have none other than His Majesty Ingwenyama Yaseswatini, King Mswati III, who is going to be our official guest of honor at the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, and that's on Friday.
Sounds exciting.
And then we will have fun after that official opening. We have lots of fun. We have drum majorettes. We have our security forces on full display. We have a fly past. We have paratroopers. We have bands. We have entertainment going into not in the wee hours of the morning, just late evening, because we want young people also to come. I also need to mention that on the sidelines of the ZITF, lots of things will be happening. Scholastica, that focuses on young people who are in school, that will be running throughout the ZITF. We also have the Innovators Forum that's running over 2 days, from Wednesday and Thursday, running alongside the ZITF, where our young people, in particular in the ICT sector, but not exclusively the ICT sector, any innovation that people have had. And we've seen over the years young people taking their ideas from concept to commercialization out of that forum. And we want to continue to be a catalyst for our young people to do things like that.
Jam-packed. Looks like there's a lot of important conversations that are going to be had. And just now you spoke about changing something from concept into commercialization, right?
Yes.
So as the chairperson of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, what commitment can you give us that you're actually going to see that all these conversations, all these exhibitions, all these, conferences, etc., that are going to be happening will actually amount to something? Because there's always this notion or this narrative that, people just want to hang around, have conferences, but at the end of the day, when we say, okay, what has come out of it, sometimes it may not be tangible. So what is your commitment to that?
So our commitment is, one, we're going to continue to have these conversations. We're going to continue creating better and better platforms for business, public sector to come together and talk at least once a year in a public open forum. Secondly, in all these meetings, we have resolutions that are made publicly and committed by public servants to business. And so we will make sure that those resolutions are captured, made public. On the third, really, it's takeaways that businesses themselves will commit to follow through on, because, as I said, we have over 50 sectors represented at the ZITF. We're not over ambitious and want to overreach. There are vibrant associations in the country, but what we do is create a platform where all policymakers, is very rare. The ZITF is very rare in this. You have the head of state, you have the vice president, you have all cabinet ministers, all in one place, and you can interact with them. So the third is where sectors, businesses, can take advantage themselves and follow through and have specific industry outcomes, that whether it's the leather sector, the horticultural sector, engineering, whatever sector that there is. So we commit to making sure policymakers are there to interact with business.
Busisa Moyo, Chairperson of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, appreciate your time with us here on Business Unusual, and we wish you all the best with the upcoming ZITF.
Thank you, Mona Lisa. Thank you, listeners.
And that's all we had this evening on Business Unusual. I'm Mona Lisa Dube. Stay with us here on ZiFM Stereo.